Okay, the leading PR firm in the business had been called Gibson and Stromberg. Its technique was very simple. Um, you take a record company president out for the evening, you give him whatever he wants in the way of cocaine, alcohol, girls, boys, anything that he likes. And he signs a contract with you to give you 12 of his acts on a God knows how much money per year basis. Then, if you're like me and you get a phone call from one of these presidents saying, we've got this major act coming into town tomorrow, and he's on Gibson and Stromberg's list, so you don't have to do anything except go say hello, and you call Gibson and Stromberg, and Gibson and Stromberg says, who? Then you know that the act has been acquired through the use of cocaine and but we can't say that in public. But at any rate, nonetheless, but it's not being worked. No one is actually doing the work. There's a scam going on here. I loathed that idea of doing business. Absolutely loathed it. So my company was dedicated to the proposition of soul, just as we described soul a minute ago. And none of this bullshit, none of this crap, none of it whatsoever. And over the course of the next few years, well, first I got calls from all of the major people in PR, all of the company heads in PR, saying, "Look, you're a nice kid. We've known you for the last couple of years as the magazine editor. We like you, but your business model is not going to work. You'll be out of business in 6 months." Every single one of the companies whose presidents called me was out of business or was all of a sudden really struggling within 3 years. All of them, because the truth can win. The truth can win. So we worked with, who did we work with? My biggest competitor was Rogers & Cowan. The person heading the music division at Rogers & Cowan was Joe Dara. I had gotten Joe Dara his first job in PR. He had called and said, "I'm a roadie and I really want to get into publicity. Can you help me?" And I said, "Yes, I have a friend who needs somebody. I will recommend you." And I did. Well, these things don't work out well. Usually, many puppies bite the hands that feed them. And so Joe Dara's sales technique was to say, when he was talking to a prospective client, "Don't hire Howard Bloom. He's just a pipsqueak. Look at him. He doesn't even have magazine covers. We have magazine covers up the kazoo." Of course he did. He was with a company that had Mick Jagger and David Bowie and a whole bunch of people like that who were up to the magazine cover level before Rogers and Cowan ever got them as clients. Rogers and Cowan was a big old firm. I was brand new. So I figured, okay, I'll make my own stars and we'll get our covers. And I did. I made star after star after star who had never been on a cover before and got them cover after cover after cover after cover. So we gave Rogers and Cowan a major run for its money, and that's an understatement. But one day in 1988, I was doing my usual kind of day. The usual kind of Bloom day was that I had a knapsack behind my desk. It had a TRS 101 computer, the very first laptop computer. It weighed a pound, and when you bought it, it came with a standard 8K of memory. If you were a nerd, you could jazz it up to 24K. Of course, I had two of them. They were both jazzed up to 24K. So I had one of those, a spare shirt, and my toiletries, a toothbrush, basically, and a razor. Because I'd get a call at 4 o'clock in the afternoon saying things like, "Michael Jackson is about to cancel his tour, and you're the only one he'll listen to. You've got to be out here by 11 o'clock tonight." That was a normal call. That kind of thing happened on a regular basis. So I'd simply get a secretary to get me an airline reservation, and I'd be at the airport by 5:30, and I'd be out there wherever there was. It could be Atlanta, it could be Memphis, it could be Houston. Most often it was LA, at 11 o'clock that night. Well, one day I had been given an act called the Womacks. It was Cecil Womack who wrote the Rolling Stones' first hit, and Linda Womack, whose father was Sam Cooke, the legend of pop pre-rock, and they were wonderful people. But it meant going down to Virginia. I always insisted that if I'm going to represent you, I'm going to visit you in your location so I can see what you are really like. And it's going to be without managers, without wives, without any intercessors whatsoever. It's going to be just you and me.